The Rays are under 500. We can't say that very often over the last couple of years. An ugly loss for the good guys yesterday against the Rangers at the Trop.
And we hope they're not under 500 for long. So let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. This may be a theme for the Rays, at least it is in the early going, of when they lose bad. Yesterday, a 9-3 loss. Saturday, or what was it Sunday? Do I have my days mixed up?
Sunday.
The two losses against the Blue Jays were 9-2 and 8-2. So no messing around in that respect. But this isn't your prototypical Rays that we're used to offensively, defensively, pitching wise. Just some struggles afoot for this team presently.
Yeah, good call on the losses. They've all been ugly. They've all have left you with a taste in your mouth that it's not
quasi-clunkerish.
Yeah, they're quasi-clunker, if not clunker. They're clunker adjacent.
Yes,
which is the new term for this season, clunker adjacent, and that's what they've been. And they've been messy. They haven't been, tight at all. And everything just, you can pinpoint basically every facet of the game when they lose, and everything goes wrong. Like, it's not like, oh, well, if this was better than everything else they did. No. The pitching, walking way too many people. And it wasn't just yesterday, but yesterday they had 7 walks. But Kev, in the American League, the Rays lead the whole league in walks with 26.
You're saying that's bad, right? That's not a good thing.
I am saying that is not an optimal way of getting wins. You're just giving free passes, which is, counterintuitive to what they are preaching. With their pitching lab, which is get ahead, take strike one. Now, this, I think we can agree that this is most likely because A, you've got young pitchers.
Yes.
And B, young pitchers are usually adrenaline fueled. They're nervous, big lights, all of that. But still, this has to be fixed.
Yeah, and right out the gates, you're facing good opponents in the Blue Jays and Rangers, respectively, as well. Because, look, Pepiot, before the season, probably wasn't. It was a question mark whether he would be pinned into the rotation with Taj Bradley and others in the fold. And he's more or less thrown into the fire right away. And you're facing a Rangers lineup that one of, if not the best in baseball last year, and they're continuing that trend. I mean, if you look at pretty much every stat category from last year, there's a reason why they won the whole dang thing. Doubles, home runs, drawing walks, OPS, batting average. It's all in good shape for them, and they return a lot of those guys. And to your point on a previous show or shows, I would have just been curious to see how, for example, Tyler Alexander would have fared against this Rangers lineup. Not saying that it would have gone much better, but there are notably more lefties in the Rangers lineup compared to the Blue Jays between Seager, Carter, Walsh, Janikowski, and they have a switch hitter or two in there. And, Pepiot, for I give him credit because after a 31 pitch inning, for him to still get through 5 2/3 was kind of a gift. I think some of it, I guess, just a case of nibbling and not getting the I hate to call out the umps, but there were some iffy calls. It's like, man, you should have called that a strike. Like there were some calls against the Rays pitching staff and then on offense as well. Like Yandy got jobbed on a ball strike call. Like that's just part of the game. But I think overall, I'm not like freaking out about Pepiot. I do think he has a good repertoire. I just think that it really goes back to the simple mindset of your stuff got you to the major leagues. Trust your stuff. You don't need to nibble or hang around the corners. Throw your fastball 94, 95 top of the zone. Then throw your breaking balls down or below the zone instead of, getting a changeup caught in the middle or something like that. It's funny too. He was throwing, I know his changeup's his best pitch, but he was throwing changeups against righties. You usually see changeups thrown against the opposite-handed batter, but that didn't seem the case, I guess.
And one got smoked. One of those changeups got smoked for that 3-run home run in the first inning. I don't think anybody should be freaking about a Pepiot, but you should also be like, that was just a bad outing. Like,
everybody has a bad outing. Zach Eflin's had a bad outing.
Everybody.
Tyler Alexander's had a bad outing. We've had a lot of relievers that are having bad outings. Phil Maton, give us your $6 million back.
That was rough. That was rough on Maton. 2-hit batsman, and I think Josh Young has a fractured wrist, so that sucks for the Rangers. They're losing their third baseman, 4 or 5 games in. That sucks for them. But yeah, not a clean game whatsoever from the mound from the Rays. But if you go look offensively too, Kev, like first I'd like to, keep on this thread. You got to make better decisions. Got to make better decisions on the base paths. And you saw Kevin Cash a couple of days ago when Siri stole third, kind of being the Kevin Cash deadpan, like funny, but I'm going to give you a funny answer, but look behind because I'm really not happy about it. They asked him about the third. He's like, oh yeah, I'm glad he's safe. But you could tell he didn't really like that he went. Like that wasn't from the dugout. Siri made the decision. He was safe. Yesterday, he wasn't safe. And the problem with that, it was a 3-1 count. Pinto ended up walking in that at bat. So you would have gotten men on first and second with your best hitter in Yandy Diaz with less than 2 outs.
Yeah.
You can't make that decision. I love aggressive base running. I would always 100% of the time rather have an aggressive base running team than a shy one. 100%.
Right.
I don't care. However, just because you're aggressive doesn't mean you have to be reckless. That you don't make smart decisions on the base paths. And that was not a smart decision on the base paths to try to take third, because you didn't take it, to try to take third when your MVP is going to possibly come up with 2 men on base.
Yeah. And quite frankly, with Yandy, like you can still be at second with 2 outs, and Yandy can poke a single and get you home. I think there's a lot of Jose Siri feeling himself, especially after, was that the instance where he stretched a base hit into a double? He turned a single into a hustle double. So I think he probably usually does, after a big play, he feels on top of the world, invincible, and that he can do anything. So you have to consider the circumstances of who's behind you, how many outs are there, what is the count right now, who's not only at the plate, but behind the plate, because Jonah Heim has a cannon of an arm. Not to say that Jose Siri or anybody else shouldn't steal, but you have to look at everything. And I think that's something that you hope can get under control, because we've had over the years, Randy's been that guy too, where it's just like, yeah, I consider myself having the green light. I'll just go whenever I want to. And that has to be reined in, and controlled by the coaching staff, because you don't want to. And that was the inning too. That Yandy got a terrible strike call and a sinker.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was. I mean, depending on, it was iffy. I guess you do have to protect with 2 strikes, but that was a moment there, that because it was 3-0 at that point, so you could have battled back in and really had something going for you. But I guess Siri, his idea was that he gets to third with 1 out, and then Pinto launches a sac fly. I guess that's what the line of thinking was. So
Right, but I don't
maybe you
know.
pass ball and you go home. So
Yeah, but again, like I would be okay with that decision if Yandy wasn't going to hopefully come up with 2 men on base, and if the score was shorter, and if maybe the innings are a little bit on the edgier side, like sixth, seventh inning, you're losing by 1 run. All right, let's
yeah.
try to make something happen. Like I'm okay with that, but right there in that moment, I didn't like it. But you know what I do like? I like Amazon Fire TV. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. It offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as with that Fire TV stick. You can just plug into that into your existing TV, and that will provide millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. And in fact, Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. And guess what? That includes all of us at the Locked On family. So today, you have to check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. I mean, you want great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos? This is where you can get that. So if you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you definitely should. To learn more, go to amazon.com/lockedonfiretv. That's amazon.com/lockedonfiretv.
That wasn't the only odd base running instance where on the Rangers side, Wyatt Langford tries to go first to home on a ground ball to short, and that didn't work out too well for him, although he got close in that instance. I'll tell you what, that scenario unfolding did make me nervous, because anytime you have a pitcher, or more specifically a Rays pitcher, trying to make some sort of athletic movement that's not on the mound, and you're trying to slide and tag a guy at home, it just can be concerning of like, oh my gosh, is he going to break his leg or sprain his ankle or pull his quad? Like, something bad is going to happen here. But luckily, Pepiot wound up in good shape. So
yeah, no, but it was an athletic play. The Texas Rangers have this knack of taking an extra base against the Rays, and usually it is successful. I mean, you can go back to the 2010 ALDS, 2011 ALDS. I think they did it to us last year as well. And then they tried this year, didn't work. But I mean, it was mighty close.
Right.
I'll take the double play, but it was close. But good for Pepiot to be self-aware, to be spatially aware, that he was the guy, that he needed to be there. So that was a great play. What about Richie Palacios, though? Let's talk about a little bit of.
Hey, there were some positives out of this game. Not too many, but there were a couple things, including
there were a couple of things. So let's turn it over. Let's flip that pancake. The positives. Richie Palacios is just gaining so much bleeping ground right now. In my fandom, I really like what he has to do on the field. Like, I mean, the defensive side of the ball, the hustling. He's got some sneaky pop. He looks like a jovial player on the field.
He seems to really have some poise and composure, and not cockiness, but confidence. Like, I belong out here. I enjoy being out here. And he's got $1 million smile as well. I think he's a great ad, and will continue to be a great ad. And it's unfortunate for Josh Lowe, but this allows him, Palacios, to make a lane and a way for himself. And it might come to the point where, okay, Josh Lowe is back, healthy, ready. And depending on how things go, it might be a short stick for Ahmed Rosario and some of the other veterans, where it's like, we got to find room to get Palacios more action day in and day out. And maybe, again, not trying to upset the apple cart here, but I guess, could there be a situation or scenario when inevitably Randy is no longer on the team, Palacios takes left field or Josh Lowe takes left. Yeah, I guess you'd keep Josh Lowe and right, but maybe work some sort of platoon action or get Palacios more time in the outfield or wherever you can to get his bat in the lineup.
I think that's more of a conversation for next year for sure.
Yeah.
And no, we haven't even seen Johnny DeLuca in an actual regular season.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's great to see Palacios do this because it opens up so many opportunities for what you can do with the lineup, with the defensive outfield positioning. You talk about maybe him taking left field, but I mean, if he shows that he can be a center field average guy, Siri goes down. You don't have to feel so bad anymore. I know the average is not there right now at 125. It's 5 games, people. He hasn't played all 5 games either, right? So
No.
I like what he has to offer. We saw some in spring training, but just the way he carries himself, like you said, it's nice. There is that line of cockiness and confidence, and it's very thin.
Yes.
It's incredibly thin. Like you can really give different vibes. I think
Siri is over the line right now.
Siri exactly. Siri does not walk that line. Like Siri does, which is fine. You can be your own person and whatever, but like if you say who looks cocky and who looks confident, I think people would say Palacios.
Player A, player B. We can have fun with that. But no, I think Palacios, at least putting on the Rays on the board, tagging up Dunning on a first pitch changeup in the 7th inning. That's the thing. It feels like as Dane Dunning just had the Rays number. I don't know. Maybe it's just me thinking of things. I guess because he does throw the kitchen sink at you, and he does generally induce ground balls and weak contact. Like I know Palacios got the home run, and then Siri got a 2-run homer on a sinker after that. But Dunning has made a name for himself by keeping the ball in the yard and preventing those extra base hits and getting really good extension on his pitches. And one thing that really stood out to me was the arm action on the changeup. Tough to differentiate, but that and the fastball. And it's not like there's a huge marker between his fastball, which is like 90, 91, and his changeup, which is like 86, 87. So it goes to show you there are multiple ways to pitch in this area. You don't have to just be a fastball slider, 98, 99 guy. You can be a pitcher. You can have some finesse and be successful in this day and age.
I'm looking up if Dane Dunning has had Tommy John.
Good
because that would be interesting to me. The 6th ranked White Sox prospect underwent successful Tommy John surgery Monday in Pensacola, Florida. The procedure was performed. Yeah. So he did have in 2019. So hey, guess what? Happens to all of them.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
But he had a heck of a year last year. And again, like he spreads it out. He's got a fastball, he's got a slider, he's got a cutter, he's got a change, he's got a curve. And sometimes you don't know which is which and when it's coming and where it's coming.
Yeah, the tunneling is done really well by Dane, but he definitely found himself last year. It's funny how these pitchers always give the Rays so much trouble.
Yeah.
And for like years now, like it's not like, oh, this set of core players. No, like since like the Rays have been the Rays, it just seems like this type of pitcher that doesn't really have like huge stuff is the one that gets them off their feet,
And I guess it's I don't know, what is the modus operandi? Just attacking early, first pitch before you get to 2 strikes and before he can open up the offense, because we did see a lot of that. And in the Rays defense, I know the offense was the runs aren't really there, but again, I'm trying to glean some positives here. There were some hard outs, warning track on the line, right to the Rangers. You hit them where they were, not where they weren't. And you can't really do anything about that. I mean, Pinto had hard hit balls. Rosario had hard hit balls. Yandy had a hard hit ball. Randy had a hard hit ball.
To the warning
And
track too. To the
yeah,
warning track. So like that, those could have been something if they had just had a little bit more of a wind AC carried help
yeah,
inside the drop. But
Colorado, that's gone.
yeah, exactly, baby. But no, I feel like I think that was probably the plan too. Just like attack early, and you can see that in the first inning, which I kind of didn't like
Yeah,
because your young pitcher, just had a 30+ inning
need to give
pitches
him a
thrown,
breather. Hmm.
bro, and you gave Dane Dunning 8 pitches. See,
Yeah,
like that's just that. I know that there's a plan before you go and you have to execute it, right? But like, there has to be a way that you can have your plan and then say, oh, it's a different context now. We have to do something different. Like,
yeah.
there's no way. Why can't you deviate from the plan when there's a different context? There's a different setting. I think that has to be applied. And if your pitcher just did 30+ pitches, maybe don't swing at the first couple ones.
Yeah.
Which Brendan Lau and Yandy, I think, might have done. Like, I think it was Brendan.
Well, Brandon Lau, they didn't even have time to announce his name before he grounded into an out. It was like, oh, he's
Brandon,
up. Okay. Yeah.
what are you
It's already
doing,
an out.
man? Like, and you're a veteran.
Yeah. It's it's something where you get hit in the mouth, you got to reassess and kind of figure out where you are. And that's a good point about Dunning, because I think his pitch count, by the time it was like the 7th inning, it was like at 70 pitches. It was crazy.
Yeah, they could have, if they wanted to just go for it, he could have gone.
Yeah. Yep. He really could have. All right. We have a little bit more to discuss here, but first we have to tell you about FanDuel. The sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in on all of the action. That's because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, they are America's #1 sportsbook. And to help you all out, I'll repeat it again, that promo code FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON. All right, Ulises, quick question before we get to tonight's game. Out of all the newcomers, who have you been the most impressed or ecstatic by? Is it Palacios or is it somebody else thus far, 5 games
in? Good question. I want to really like Maton. He hasn't really shown me a lot yet.
No.
Pepiot has got stuff, but I mean, I can't say Pepiot because that wasn't awe-inspiring performance by him. And I know that Richie hasn't had a lot of hits, but you know what? Overall, I think it has been Richie Palacios. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You?
No, I like I said the other day, I do like the new guys. I like Rosario. I like Rortvet. I like Palacios. And I think Palacios is happy to be in a Rays uniform and outside of the St. Louis organization, where it seems like every year they have 10 outfielders and there's not enough playing time for them. And they have to move off one or more of them, and they go on and have success elsewhere, i.e. Randy Rosarena, i.e. Adolis Garcia. That's just a couple right off the bat.
Dude, isn't it nuts how certain organizations have figured out something about the facet of the game of baseball? Like, there are some organizations that just produce outfielders, like the St. Louis Cardinals, the Rays, pitching. It's really amazing how 30 organizations have just like pinpointed something, but nobody has been able to just be like, no, we have this and this and this and this, without the money aspect.
Yeah.
Now we can just point at the Dodgers or whatever. But it's really cool how they have pinpointed different things, but nobody has been able to put it all together. That's how difficult it is. And that's why you can't put things on spreadsheets. These are human beings. That's why it's so difficult.
Exactly. That is very true.
Predict things. But before we look at today's game, because this is early.
Yeah.
That's how early it is today. I want to share something.
Okay.
With you, just a little update from a buddy, Mark Topkin. He says Rays got what sounds like good news on top prospect Junior Caminero, left quad strain with the potential to return to action next week, was placed on 7-day IL at AAA Durham Bulls.
Wow. So that's good.
Whew.
The Rays need some good news.
Wow. That might be the best positive out of yesterday, including the game.
Yeah. And certainly not the walks or the team ERA or the runs allowed. I mean, they're giving the 99 Devil Rays a run for their money as far as bad pitching stats go. That's just the way it is right now. But we knew it's going to be a grind the first month of the season. Here's the question, though. Caminero, okay, if the Rays are struggling as they are right now, and Caminero comes back in 7 days and he pops off, goes crazy, does things where it's like, why is he in AAA anymore? Do you think there's a segment of the organization that says we need to call him up to provide a morale boost, a fan boost, an energy boost? He's our thou who shall not be named from a couple years ago. He's the guy that, okay, we're going to have some fun now. We're going to hit some bombs. We're going to blow the place off.
I think it has to be a balance because yes, number one, he does have to be hitting the cover off the ball. You're not going to bring him up if he's hitting 240, just to put a stat, people. Don't get too caught up on the average, or that I picked an average. Like if he's has a 104 WRC plus, there you go, fans. If he's doing that, like it's not, no way. Cover of the ball, he has to be killing it. Number two, they have to be confident enough that the Super 2 status has already been passed. That's another requirement for them to call him up. For sure. You want that extra year of Caminero. And number three, he can't be called up. And this is the most difficult one, honestly. He can't be called up to act as the savior. If nobody's hitting in the roster, I don't think it's a good idea to say, hey, 21-year-old, can you be the savior of a whole Major League Baseball offense? Because we really need you to. Like, that's not a recipe. So it's the most difficult because all of those things have to happen before. He has to be really good. Super 2 status has to be eligible. And then the team has to be mediocre enough that there are some good hitting guys in the lineup, but there are so many spots that he could fill in, and then it becomes a better team. Like, that's the thing. Like, it can't be like they are all mediocre in the lineup, because then he becomes a savior. Like, there has to be Yandy has to be hitting the cover off the ball. Randy Rosarena and maybe like one other guy, but then the results aren't showing up. That's when you influx Caminero. And then I think that would be a good idea, because he doesn't feel like he has to be the guy. He knows Yandy's doing his thing. He knows Randy's doing his thing. And then that could give him a little bit more confidence. I think that's how they could do it.
I'm trying to find the Super 2 cutoff, and I'm just having some trouble here. I don't know. I can't even.
It's late May, right? Late May.
Yeah, usually late May, maybe early June, something like that. But yeah, I think the Rays definitely want to be very conservative with that approach of they're going to probably make sure it's like a week or 2 weeks past the deadline before they make that maneuver there. So it remains to be seen. Hopefully he gets back in action and does things that we expect him to do. But you do ultimately think he does get called up this year, correct?
Yeah, of course. Of course he does. But hopefully it's within those parameters. Well, actually, no. Hopefully this is the thing. Like, I want to see him, but if everybody's hitting great.
Yeah. I mean, if Mean's doing amazing things, if Aranda's doing amazing things, you're not doing anything to Paredes. Maybe it does take a case of, all right, Ahmed, thank you for what you did these first couple months. We're going to ship you off to another team.
Yeah.
And go from there. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, though, we have baseball tonight. Andrew Heaney making his first start this year, going up as against Zach Eflin, who hopefully will be able to recover from his opening day outing, where he gave up 6 earned runs and 3 bombs in 5 2/3 innings. Thoughts on this matchup here?
My thoughts are, I hope Brandon Lau is correct. because after opening day, he said, I'm really, I feel bad for whoever he's facing next because Zach is not going to make those same mistakes.
Yeah.
He's going to be nasty. So for tonight, I hope Brendan Lau is correct. Zach Eflin has fixed those mistakes, leaving the secondary pitches over the zone so that they're hit very, very far. Dude, I think I have nightmares from that Vladito home run from opening day. Like I'm
450 feet on off the top of the batter's eye by the Budweiser report, something we probably haven't ever seen before.
That's
insane.
That's not safe for work. That's just too nasty.
It's very vulgar. Yeah.
It's obscene.
You will get fired if you pull that up on your desktop.
You will.
Don't just warning you.
Don't watch that at work. You're gonna get called out.
Unless your boss is a Blue Jays fan. That's the only circumstances where it's okay.
Then he's really into it. Yeah. No, I hope we can see a little bit of 180 from Zach. I mean, we really did see a Zach Eflin who was dominant for 4 or 5 innings. So it's there. Hopefully it shows up the whole time.
That'd be nice. And then, Heaney trying to build off his solid campaign that he had last year. Again, there's really nothing about him that screams, oh my gosh, I'm so scared and intimidated by Andrew Heaney. 3-pitch repertoire, gets guys to chase, but that's really his calling card. I mean, he allows hard contact, and there's nothing else that really stands out about his profile that shows, okay, yeah, he's gonna shove for 7 innings and whatnot. So hopefully the Rays are able to take advantage. I mean, on paper, the Rays should have the edge, but of course you have to play the game. So we will see what happens. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.